Hey guys, welcome back to another Hungry Howie's Mr. Football Update. Sean Belizean here. Went solo a week ago. We appreciate, of course, he can run it by himself. But this week we wanted to kind of get back together because every few weeks, people bring up, what's the criteria for this award and how do you guys select it? And it's always right there on the voting page, but it's good for us to always make a video and kind of remind people. And one thing we're going to do this year is kind of talk about the guys maybe who might be leading that particular category. And we won't kind of rank them except when it comes to votes because that's clear and simple, but we can at least maybe have a top three. So this is fun when it comes to, talking about the guys that might be in the mix as we kind of move along here in the season.
One of the cool things, and we remind people of this every year, this list is fluid. If you're new to this process, trust me when I say this list is fluid. Now, we've already had some changes, as you can tell. There still might be changes,
Sure.
But here's the thing. There might be a clubhouse leader right now. There might be a couple guys that are ahead of the rest of the pack. Trust me when I say this. Playoff time is the time where legends are born. Not only, obviously, on the football field, but in events like this. If you go above and beyond at playoff time, this is a situation, Lauren, we've seen it time and time again. We think that one guy is going to run away with it, and then all of a sudden, whoa, another guy comes out and makes a name for himself, becomes a legend at the right time of year. That's the beautiful thing about this criteria and this particular award.
That's right, 25% of the overall choice goes to, big game performance and team success. So those two combined are a big decision factor in who ends up being Mr. Football and level of competition, which of course increases as you get into the football playoffs, especially once you get into kind of the second and third rounds. So here's how it breaks down. 30% goes to performance throughout the season. That are the guys who, of course, are doing it all season long. Right now, if you wanted to look at a top three, you would say Cam Martinez. You would say one of the new guys, Brendan Sullivan, and how he's played. And, of course, Christian Reed for an undefeated Belleville team.
Well, and all three of these guys, you're seeing this with the team. And look, everything starts with Cam Martinez. There's no doubt about that. This is 2 years in a row. This kid has done incredible things. That doesn't mean, and we saw this play itself out last year, that one of those guys mentioned, including the two that you just mentioned, can't pick it up and take care of business when that presents itself. But right now, pretty hard to argue with what you're seeing out of Cam Martinez. He's doing it all across the board for the Big Red. That team is loaded, but make no mistake about it. Cam Martinez front and center.
Yeah, and when it comes to level of competition, this always changes as perhaps you felt maybe one team had more of a loaded schedule and then maybe teams aren't performing, so they have big wins and the teams that they're playing are not as good as maybe we thought they would be, at least through the early going. 20% goes to level of competition. Donovan Edwards with West Bloomfield. Cam Martinez, of course. Martinez always stacks the schedule tough in the early going. And Rashawn Williams at King. King, although have not had the success that they've hoped through the first several weeks of the season, they certainly have played solid competition.
Well, and let's talk about each one of the guys as well. I think you can look at Edwards, West Bloomfield, and what they've done so far and what they will do as well. Same thing can be said for King. King is loaded. And just think of the potential road they might have to take in the playoff as well. So when you're talking about that opponent angle, those are three guys that already up to this point have had an incredible body of work, and it's only going to get better as they progress in the playoff.
Of course, the online vote, that's 20%. And what that really means is the fact that if you win the online vote, you're the people's champ. You're in the Final Four, you automatically have a 20% advantage over everybody else. You win that category, and as we rank them and as we break it down, you have that advantage. Andrell Anthony from East Lansing right now, he's the wide receiver that is by far leading the vote. The fans have come out big for him. Ian Stewart in second, he's had a good showing. And Brendan Sullivan, new to the competition, already has his camp in there. But next we get to big game performance. That's a 15% thing. Again, I think Cam Martinez, again, Muskegon with a tough schedule in the beginning, he has really stepped out. Zach Traynor at Walled Lake Western. We did not think Walled Lake Western was going to have quite the squad they have. He has been super impressive, and again, we bring in the name Brendan Sullivan.
Well, you take a look at Zach Trainer, and right now what you're talking about with Walled Lake Western is there are a couple guys that deserve to be on this list. We hit it a few weeks ago. It's something we normally shy away from. We had to put these two guys on the list, especially when you talk about what they're doing. And you go up to Davison. I mean, what you've seen out of Davison is just a great story. And I think you've seen the athletic department as a whole at Davison really take a step up. This kid is getting it done. He's going to be in a position, if he isn't already a household name, to make a household name for himself with some of the games coming up and the road that they may have as well. So that's what's really cool about this. You may go, who is this kid? Well, he's going to have an opportunity to show you quick, fast, in a hurry.
That's right. It looks like the Power Fives might be coming on him very quickly. 10% goes to team success. Of course, right now we have several undefeated squads, and that includes Muskegon and Cam Martinez. That includes Davison and Brendan Sullivan, and that includes Belleville and Christian Dupree.
Again, here's the case. The beautiful part is you have an opportunity to become a legend. Legends are born in late October and November. There's a reason. Lauren's been doing this for so long. There's a reason we still put certain names up on a pedestal. Each one of these guys are going to have a chance to change that. Maybe you have a couple losses right now, right?
Yep.
But you know what? If you get hot and you go win the championship, they're not going to talk about your two losses. You know what they're going to talk about? They're going to talk about you being a state champion. So that's what's cool about this criteria, and it makes me come full circle, Lauren, because that's what makes me say that this really is fluid. And maybe you feel your guys down the list, or we aren't giving your guy enough love. Trust me, when following this criteria, when all those things are put into effect and your boy's still playing the 3rd or 4th week in November, everybody's going to notice.
That's right. Finally, then, we do give a little street cred to the highly recruited athlete. Just 5% goes into it. But again, that plays a factor in terms of you are being considered Mr. Football in the state of Michigan. Well, Malik Carr from Oak Park obviously is at the top of the list. If you follow recruiting, you know what I'm talking about. Abdur Rahman Yassin for Walled Lake Western. His stock huge. And then, of course, Cam Martinez for Muskegon. His stock has been through the roof since week 2 of last season. But those are the guys kind of right now who are leading the way when it comes to the top recruit.
And I love that you brought up Cam Martinez as well, because if you remember a year ago at this time, it wasn't as action-packed with Cam Martinez. Now, we already know he made his decision. He's going to Ohio State. But a year ago at this time, you didn't get a lot of the big boys coming into play. And that's why I bring up some of these juniors in this case, because some of these juniors are already getting an inordinate amount of looks and some nibbles as well. We talked about it a couple weeks ago. Andrell Anthony, they're all starting to fall into place. Notre Dame is a place that he just visited. So that's the beautiful thing about this, Lauren. I think, listen, it's a small percentage, but if all things are considered equal, maybe, just maybe, that's a mitigating factor in regards to our final decision this year.
Absolutely. It always comes down to all of it. So it's going to be really great when we get in the room and really kind of hash it out, especially just getting to 4, let alone the champion. So, Sean, we know this list is probably going to evolve. There probably are going to be some who are not in the competition, say, a week or 2 from now, and others will come in and make it very interesting, and especially as the season progresses. But it's important that people vote. How do they do it?
Well, Lauren, all you have to do is go to statechampsnetwork.com. That's how you get involved. And listen, if there isn't a guy on here right now, and you're thinking to yourself, well, maybe you're putting this guy in late, he doesn't have a chance. Think again. We've had scenarios in multiple sports where a guy joined the party late and ended up winning the whole thing. That is not out of the equation. But once again, statechampsnetwork.com. That's the place to go. So glad that so many people have responded, and especially from all over the state. To me, Lauren, that's the coolest thing, that you see a lot of fan bases really mounting up and making some noise for their guy.
Absolutely. And you just click on the Hungry Howie's banner. It's on the left side of the homepage. On the right side is the Anvil Award. So go and vote there. That is where we have our top 10 candidates who are the best linemen and linebackers in the state. So we'll award that trophy around the same time as we do our Hungry Howie's Mr. Football Award. Both sponsored by Hungry Howie's. We thank them greatly. And again, communicate with us on people that maybe we do not have on our radar right now. We can't get everywhere. Talk to us. We'll talk back to you, and we'll talk more Mr. Football next week.